Welcome to Chris Strub Unmuted. I'm Chris Strub, and today we're talking about a love of running. Someone asked me recently, do you feel that runner's high? I wouldn't really say that I get runner's high as much as I just feel like I'm showing love to my own body by making the most of it. This is Chris Strub Unmuted, a show designed for open dialogue, honest reflection, and uncensored truths about the lives that we lead. Today's episode looks at a love for running as we continue our season 2, February 2026 episode drop about love. I mentioned in a couple other episodes that I am working on this theme of wearing all different red clothing throughout this season. I am quickly running out of red. It's not really my color, red. There's lots of other great colors in my wardrobe. Red is not really atop the list, but we've got some red on. So if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we'll start there. Chris, what are you wearing for this episode? I've got a beanie on that says NJ Trail Series. I love wearing beanies. This I would consider the warmest beanie in my entire collection. I probably got, 30 beanies. So we'll talk more about the NJ Trail Series. I've got a red, white, and blue, but mostly red race medal on around my neck. It says Rehoboth Beach Running Company 13.1 from the year 2022. This was one of the red race medals that I could find here among my collection that hangs on my wall. And then got a tank top on here that says benefiting the Julie Valentine Center, the Run to Overcome 2023. It is a red tank top with a heart and some shoelaces on it. 2 straight episodes I am recording in a tank top as it's freezing outside. But I'm committed to the bit. If there's one thing you know about Chris Strub, if I tell you I'm committed to a bit, like that's what we're doing. So however many more episodes we record here for this season, we'll find something red to wear here around the house. And it's funny, we can start there. Talk about wardrobe with this love of running. There's so many different aspects of running, and I'm going to talk more about competitive running, I think, than maybe most listeners might not feel the same sense of competition that I do when I go out and run. Know that I am still clinging to my semi-competitive days of running. It's funny. The Olympics will be well underway, actually almost over by the time this episode comes out, the Winter Olympics. That'll never be me, of course. Those days are long gone, and I wasn't born with that level of genetics anyway, but you could call Chris Strub a bit of a gym class hero. I'm a frequent Orange Theory Fitness member. In a couple months, I'll be heading down to Miami with my good buddy Jake to go compete in our first High Rocks event on Easter Sunday. So that'll be fun. I'm sure I'll talk more about that either before and or after that happens. But I do love the competitive feeling of getting out there and running. I've got a funny picture actually where I think I'm actually wearing this specific shirt. I'm gonna have to send this to Jeff, our video producer for Chris Strub Unmuted. Maybe we'll show that on the screen of me standing at the start line pensively wearing this shirt at this specific race in 2023 next to a kid that's probably half my height who I believe beat me in this race that happens every August here in Greenville. And that's just one of, at least 100 races that I've run over the last few years living here in Greenville. I love the competitiveness of running both here in Greenville. We've got the Upstate Racing Series and the Greenville Track Club, the latter of which is a little bit more competitive. So I am a member of both of those clubs. The Greenville Track Club races in general around here in Greenville are going to be the more competitive circuit. And there's fewer races. And then the Upstate Running Club, which benefits really the next generation of runners. You know, it's really a blessing to get out there at those URC races. Shout out to Matt Hammersmith and his wife Victoria, who do a wonderful job putting on all of those races year round. Although the race that I was hoping to run tomorrow is canceled, totally out of the Hammersmith's hands with the weather that we're facing here in Greenville lately. But it's always fun to get out there and line up at the start of the race, even as a full grown, but maybe not fully mentally mature adult yet, lining up next to some of these, fourth, fifth, sixth graders out there who are out there. And some of them are, like I said, faster than I am. And I like to think I'm a pretty quick guy. But certainly not among the fastest. You know, I love seeing the fastest of the fast get out there. The fastest runner in the state of South Carolina right now for the past few years is James Quattlebaum. Had the pleasure of meeting James a couple years ago, actually standing in line at a pizza place. I was like, what are you doing here? You eat normal people food like I do? Just super down to earth. Nicest guy. He's married now. So shout out to his wife, Jamie Quattlebaum, who is also just wonderful and a great runner in her own right as well. It's been a pleasure getting to see Jamie out at a lot of these races also. So seeing those really competitive, mid to late 20s, early 30s runners get out there and just achieve the very best for what the state of South Carolina can offer from a running perspective has been awesome. And then there's folks like Nick and Christine who run Guts here in Greenville, the Greenville Up Tempo Sports company, fostering another great little community of their own, within that space here in Greenville. This city and this community have really become a great example of how local runners can band together and do great things and put on great events, create great merchandise, and really foster a great sense of community. Big shout out to Ashley Pearson, the founder of Monday Night Run Club. I was blessed to be among the first runners. I was at the very first run club a few years ago down at Unity Park. And now Monday Night Run Club, when it's not, absolutely frigid outside, I'm sure they'll kick things back up again in the spring. I mean, we're talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of runners heading down there these days. The introvert in me sometimes shies away from those big social events. So haven't been at every single run club over the years, but still love to get out and support. And more importantly, really proud of what Ashley and the team that she's put together have been able to do with Run Club here in Greenville. There are now several different run clubs, that happen. I've also been to many a Tuesday night run club down at Unity Park. There's a nice group of folks that go out and go run a 5K on Tuesday nights when it's not 0 degrees also. And again, the Upstate Running Club and the Greenville Track Club also have their own weekly training events, stuff like that. There's Wednesday night sprints up the hill at Unity Park. I've never actually done that, or at least not yet, but maybe I'll get out and do that here in 2026 also. But so many great opportunities to run and have fun, build community, no matter how fast you might be. Again, I hope, and I worry sometimes that I don't express this often enough, but it's my hope that despite the fact that I like to run fast, I am also, I at least aspire to be super supportive of people that run at any speed at all. If I haven't been clear enough about that in the past, consider this podcast recording a public apology. If I've ever come across as judgmental. Now, the fact that I run fast, I hope that in and of itself is not judgmental. I hope that my words and my support vocally and through text messages or through showing up and staying at race finish lines after races are over to root people on, it's my hope that those actions and my words speak louder than just maybe sometimes being the fastest guy in the room. Like, I hope that that doesn't come off as offensive. I really do. Because if you know anything about me, like I never mean to offend anyone, especially those that get up off the couch or get out of bed and come run at any time of day, no matter where you are, whether you're running down the trail back behind my house or, the Swamp Rabbit Trail, or I see you in Orange Theory or Crunch or Planet Fitness or wherever you may be running. I support you. I support you. I love running some of these bigger races. I've got a couple of Disney medals up on my wall here. I'm looking at a Las Vegas medal. And so people run those races at all different paces. You've got my support. You've got my support, right? Whether you run a 4-minute mile, 5, 6, 10, 12, 14 or 15-minute mile, or even slower. I love it. I love it for you. And it's my hope to, really for me personally, I hope to stay as fast as I can out there. I was born with that competitive gene. So I hope it's not offensive to anyone. Maybe if I see you at a local race and I take off and I don't run with you or something like that, please don't misinterpret that as not being supportive of your efforts out there. I love seeing folks at the starting line. I love hanging out, especially at the Spinks Run Fest in October, getting to hang out and cheer on people that may be finishing a race after me. Just as much as I love seeing the James Quattlebaums of the world get out there, absolutely torch me and probably be asleep, back at home, showered, ate, went back to bed before I might even finish, a full marathon or any race of distance like that. And then, I want to express my love to the national running community as well. I've got this medal on here around my neck. This is from the Rehoboth Beach Running Company out in Delaware. This is one of the races that I ran across 50 states, and it's fitting to wear this specific medal because I know how much the Rehoboth Beach Running Company and their local running community is growing and super supportive and just a really great community of its own out there in Delaware. A lot of these folks show up to this race and other races that they put on in Delaware and around Delaware, around Rehoboth Beach throughout the year. So big shout out to you guys. But as I look around the room here, and I'll have to send Jeff a little B-roll here, I'll take my camera and pan around and show you the medals along my my desk and around my office area here. I've been able to collect medals from all 50 states. And a big thing that you notice at pretty much all of those races is that critical support from local running communities. And again, people of all paces all around. I'm really proud to be part of the local running community here in Greenville, but I'm also really proud to get out and meet folks and explore and make connections with folks at races all around the US. Like my friend Justin up in Rhode Island, shout out to you, man. One of these days I'm going to recruit you to come down and run Ville to Ville with me here at another just great angle of the local running community here. Huge shout out to Zach and Anna Hall, the founders and the bosses of the Ville to Ville event, which is something that no matter where you're watching or listening from around the US, put that on your running bucket list. Ville to Ville, if you haven't heard of it, you can get up to 6 people on your team and you run from Asheville, North Carolina to Greenville, South Carolina. It's about 70 miles and you can split it up. It's 12 legs. They're all somewhere between 3 and let's say 8 miles a piece, 8 or 9 miles a piece. It's just such another totally different, but incredibly fun way to experience getting out there, building community, building bonds with friends and getting out there and running. I'm looking forward to very likely being back at Ville to Ville again this April. And so there's just so many different ways that you can be part of this running community. And I urge you, if you are blessed and if you are lucky enough to be able to run or even walk, because I know that there are certain people, and I know that I always speak sometimes from a place of privilege. I want to acknowledge that there are people out there that follow me, that listen, that cannot run or that can't walk for circumstances out of your own control. And I love you guys too. Many of you guys have reached out and been so supportive of my journey over the years, running races in all 50 states, running the Binghamton, New York Bridge Run 10 times, from the very start, back when that event started back in 2011. It was May 15th, 2011 was my first half marathon. Really had no idea what I was doing. I ate a bacon, egg, and cheese for breakfast the morning of the race. Terrible idea. I had no idea how to pace myself. Another terrible idea. But you get out, and like anything else in life, with practice and repetition, you get better. I was not fast. And depending on which side of the spectrum you're on, I'm still not really fast. But I'd say I'm faster than most people. And you just get better at it as you go. I was fortunate enough to kickstart and get started in my late 20s. And boy, do I wish that I would have gotten into running even earlier. I actually, when you think back on it, and I like to say I live life with no regrets, but man, I really tried hard to be a soccer player and a tennis player in high school. And boy, I can only imagine how much more successful I would have been running something like cross country in high school and maybe into college. I mean, I've got, shout out to Mama Strub and Papa Strub, my grandparents for the genetics. I've got what I like to think is a pretty good engine inside here, and, I love, now that I've learned to power that with some C4 performance energy, boy, you got a C4 in me, and you put me on a treadmill or you get me out for a half marathon, I can run like hell, man. I can run like hell. And after a batch recording day like today, I will be running like hell later this afternoon. Shout out to my friends at Orange Theory Fitness here on Woodruff Road in Greenville, South Carolina. Coach Key, this is your second shout out of season 2 here. So appreciate you if you're watching or listening. And I'll see you at 3:15. So I just, I wanted to start by really expressing that love for all of these various types of running communities. Again, the running clubs, the track club and the upstate running club, the Ashley's Run Club and the Trailside Trotters on Tuesday nights. And then groups like Ville to Ville, which is this year introducing the Coastal Relay in October. Congratulations again, Zach and Anna. Really appreciate you there and all the hard work that you guys do. The national running clubs and all of these great events, the Rock and Roll Series. I've gone out to Run Vegas, I think 5 times. Just absolutely have so much love for that race and the entire team at Ironman and the Rock and Roll Series also. But running to me on another level is more about self-love. When I get out and I get a run in, whether I'm training for a marathon or a half marathon, or I just go out for a jog, ideally pretty soon I'll be going for jogs with Link, my dog. Every time I get out and feel blessed to run, there's someone asked me lately, recently, do you feel that runner's high? I wouldn't really say that I get runner's high as much as I just feel like I'm showing love to my own body by making the most of it and getting out there and doing something productive, and getting out there and exploring, especially by running outside, and the love for events that I have, again, if you're listening on Spotify, I'm now showing this Rehoboth Beach medal. Again, the love that I have for these events is really powered by the love that you can show to your own body by training for events. Right. So especially if you're going to go out and run 26.2, the love that you're showing to yourself is not even so much at the start line or the finish line on race day. The love that you're showing yourself is the 3-4 months beforehand that go into making that race happen and being able to succeed on race day. And that is a love that comes with commitment to a diet, commitment to stretching, sometimes Dr. Molly, a commitment to massage therapy, a commitment to recovery and sleep and hydration, and a commitment to products. Boy, I really should do a better job of promoting. I am technically an affiliate for Salt Stick. So shout out to the folks at Salt Stick. I love popping in sponsorship mentions when I can. We'll put a link to Chris Strub's Salt Stick choose page where you can get products like that help you succeed out there while you're racing. It's just, at the end of the day, everything that comes with running, and for me, racing, and for me in this stage of my life, still trying to be competitively racing, it's love. It's wrapped in love. And to me, to this point in my life, and I'm sure I'll talk in another episode here coming up later in the season about how there's certainly different forms of love, and love that I'd love to show to my kids, my grandkids someday when they get here. Hopefully my kids and grandkids might listen to this someday and feel inspired by dad or grandpa to get out and run. I even talked my dad, Papa Strub, into coming out and running a 5K with me in Binghamton a few years ago. And according to the results, he beat me. He'll never let me live that down. So it was just one of the biggest joys of my life to be able to share that gift of running with my dad, the same way he's been able to share his love of playing golf and as I talked about in another episode this season, trying new foods and his love for dogs, which is another episode from this season. It's my hope to be able to share this love of running with my kids and my future grandkids someday. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll get a chance to make that happen. But to everyone that I've ever run with, to every race director that I've ever shaken your hand after a race or sent you a thank you email afterwards, or to everyone that I've encountered along a course, there's a good chance that I'll probably do an entire season's worth of episodes about running. Please let me know in the comments if that's something, if that's a tangent that you'd like me to go on more about, the specific races or race day strategies, how to train for a marathon, gear, clothing, mindset, all of that stuff. I'd love to dive more into that. But for this episode today, consider this a love letter to running, which has really become, until I got Link at least, the love of my life for the last decade plus, and will continue to be. Running's not going anywhere. And as long as my chiropractor, my massage guy, head coach Vassar reminding me how important it is to come home and stretch, as long as I can keep on these 2 feet and keep these legs moving, I will continue to love on running for the rest of my life. So to running, thank you. I love you. Thanks for listening to Chris Strub Unmuted. Support the show by clicking like and subscribe. Keep up with me on social media at Chris Strub. And if you want to hear more about my love of running, you can follow on Instagram at RunStrubRun. And remember, we are all famous to a few people.